Browns 0-8 at home. Just sad.
I haven't heard you this down since Taki Brown got fired. It's a game that we're in, and it's a game that we just don't finish.
I don't want to watch anymore.
Why? Why does it happen? I'm so sick of watching those plays.
0-16.
I definitely do not want to watch this all 22.
That's up and down to me. That looks like dysfunction. Back season 3, episode 14, surviving the season, live from the Baywater Studios in rainy Tampa, Florida. A lot to cover today.
Did you just hear that thunder go off at my house?
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about the thunder here.
No, listen. Can you hear that? This is horrible podcasting.
Yes. So it has been established that it is raining in Huron, Ohio, and in Tampa, Florida.
That's crazy. Babe, that's crazy.
You're so silly. Dude, we got a lot to cover today. We don't have time for Brogan Robach jokes.
All right. Big, lot of moves, a lot of interesting moves, ones that we didn't really expect. Some that we expected but didn't really, like Jamie Meter. We talked about that. Like, well, we definitely think that he will get replaced at some point. Well, there's nobody on the roster to replace him, but they go out and find some other things. So there's some moves like that as well to make things a little bit even more confusing in Cleveland, trying to figure out who and how some of these guys got here and who they are. So.
Yeah, well, Meter did actually make the 53.
Mm-hmm.
He just was released the next day as
earned
the
the stripes.
Claimed 5.
Earned his stripes, gave them back. There's my stripes back.
So let's start with the cut down from 90 to 53. We're going to go through this. Here are the dudes that are waived injured, and they all have cleared waivers. Dan Vitale with a calf. CJ Board, he got hurt in the final preseason game. Lenny Jones, he was a defensive lineman. And Justin Curry, again, injured. Feel terrible for him as he was playing in game 4, too.
Yeah, in the final game. Might have had a chance to take this roster spot that we seem to be looking, just adding a special teams player might have been something that Curry could have done there.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure what his injury was. Those dudes faced off the waivers. They revert to IR. The Browns now can come to an injury settlement with them and let them go or leave them on IR for the remainder of the year.
The one there that I would like to see come back is Vitale, because I would much rather see him over Orson Charles any day of the week. It's a calf injury. He's been out since August 6th is the day he got injured, so that's damn near a month ago. It must be, pretty bad if he still hasn't even been able to practice to this point, but he's got to be relatively close, you'd think. Injured reserve, to do that, you're out the first 8 weeks of the year?
8 weeks. Then the Browns... You can reassign 2 players. Then you can come back to practice in week 8, but you can't play until week 10.
Okay, so we probably wouldn't be using this for Vitale, right?
No,
because he's a fullback.
So the option would be to, if let's say they negotiate with Vitale and they say, all right, you were going to miss a month. We'll pay you for 4 games and cut you now. You can go sign wherever you want. I don't know how long the Browns would have to wait before they bring him back. If you wanted to sign him back,
that's what I was going to ask.
If you wanted to cut him,
mm-hmm.
If you come to a settlement with him, is he allowed to re-sign with the Browns? Not sure.
Okay.
And it would take probably a while to look it up.
The longer Orson Charles is on the roster, the worse off we are in every way. I mean, the guy is just not a good football player. I mean, they're probably keep him because he can play fullback and he can play a little tight end. But if you're going to have him playing fullback, and if you watched him at all, he never blocks anybody. So what's the point? Like, you might as well just go find any other fullback out on the street right now, because from what I've seen, there is just, you're getting absolutely nothing out of this guy. So I would like to for them to figure out something with Vitale and bring him back. That would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll find out what happens. If these dudes do end up getting released from IR, then I'll look it up. But for now, we're just going to assume these dudes are done here in Cleveland.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So here's the rest. We'll go through the offense first. The two running backs, Matthew Days, did not make it, and Hilliard also did not make it. They were cut.
Hilliard went to the practice squad, though. Days, free agent right now.
Yep, both cleared waivers. Tight end, Kajus, he was cut. He cleared waivers as well.
Yeah, and didn't make the practice squad either. And they actually pick up a different guy, different tight end for the practice squad, which was interesting.
Yeah, Pharaoh McKever.
Never heard of him. All I know is he wasn't on Hard Knocks, so what the hell are we keeping him for? Who is this guy? Does this guy have a better rock collection or something? What's going on? Does he get more power from the full moon? I don't know, because people are going to be pissed. People are going to be very angry Kajus isn't around.
Yeah, so I don't really want to go through these and talk about what we thought, but we did assume Days and Hilliard would be cut. We did assume Kajus would be cut if Vitale stuck.
The Valve.
What's DeValve? Jesus.
What's his face?
If DeValve stuck around and DeValve is still here, Hugh said in a press conference today that he's expected to play this weekend.
Yeah, that's the way you do it. You just show up to the games. You're Le'Veon Bell like that. He's getting the Le'Veon Bell treatment. Doesn't practice, shows up to the game ready to play. I like it.
Amazing. So those sort of worked out. The wide receiver cuts were Blake Jackson, Damari Scott, and then CJ Board was also cut, injured.
Damari Scott makes the practice squad.
Yeah. What happened to Willies?
Willies is on
the team?
Willies made the team.
Holy
Come on,
shit.
Man.
Okay. I'm looking
Jeff
back
Janis
at my...
also cut. Did you say Jeff Janis?
I did not, because they got cut the day before. That's why they're not on this fucking list. Damn
okay.
It.
It's all right. I got a list in front of me as well. I'll double check.
Thank you. Yeah, Janis, who I had my doubts about on our Friday podcast when we talked about some of our late ideas, simply because Janis just didn't look like he was doing anything, dropped a pass.
Flip-flopper.
Didn't do anything on special teams. Yeah, I was like, I don't know about this guy now. I'm going to take him out.
Well, now, Willie's dropped a pass also, but I think Willie's obviously has a lot more upside than what you have with Janis. So I don't mind that at all. I thought it was between Board, Janis, and Willie's there. I think you're right with Janis, but Board getting hurt was tough, and then that just basically gives Willie's a free spot. For how long, we don't know.
Is that it for the offense?
So you didn't do any of the offensive line?
DeLauro and Drango were cut down on the first day. Drango, which we had in, and he also freaking Iron Man the entire preseason for us.
Played damn near every snap. They're like, thank you. We've used you up. We would now like to discard you in the waste basket. And DeLauro, he makes the practice squad. He goes to this practice squad. So also Sean Coleman, who we both said we didn't think was going to make it, gets traded for a 7th round pick was that to the 49ers? Yeah, okay, so 49ers. we have acquired many 7th round picks. We are what they call 7th round pick rich going into 2019. Not exactly what you want to be.
Oh, I know why I have these separate is because the Browns the day before cut down to 72.
Yeah.
So also cut was Brogan Roebuck. Genesee on the line, Fabiano, Bowen, Jeff Gray.
Who the hell's Bowen? Never heard of him.
Yeah, so the dude that they brought in from Chicago made the team.
Yes, which sort of made sense why they would bring him in like that. What is his name? I don't even have it in front of me.
Got it here somewhere. Earl Watford.
Yes.
Yeah, so 60-year player out of James Madison.
Basically, all you're doing is going, well, we didn't like the backup guard that we had. We're going to switch him with another backup guard. A lot of these moves, it's just like we're not getting rid of foundational talent here. They're cutting guys that are sort of on the bubble or just another guy type players, the Jags, and they're adding other guys that they hopefully they think maybe have a little bit more upside, but it's not like we brought in all these studs or anything like that. There's some guys with a little bit of hope, but you're changing out replacement level players for other replacement level players at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. These are just the back end, right? Back end of your roster. Okay, let's move on. So that means, and some weird stuff was talked about today. Hugh does not want to let anyone know how this offensive line is going to start out.
All right, here's the one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got it
down for me.
Well, for one, okay, we switched Bitonio over, which caused sort of an uprising by some people, which they did not like that. I didn't mind it because I thought we took our best lineman, they put him out of tackle, see if they could do anything with him, and he's been pretty solid. They gave him a month in training camp to progress, okay? So you have a whole month before you even get to your first game. All right, so he can learn everything he needs to do. Now Hugh comes out today and goes, and basically he's saying Desmond Harrison might be the guy, part of the best 5, which would put him at left tackle, slide Bitonio back into left guard. I think this is Hugh probably just talking out of his ass a little bit, but it also wouldn't surprise me if Hugh does something like this because we've already basically done it just 4 weeks ago. But now you're talking about sliding Bitonio back in. He's played left guard for a long time in the league. Okay, so it's not like he's not going to know what he's doing, but there's just no reason to make this move at this point. It doesn't make any sense. They must think that Corbett has been absolutely terrible up to this point to think that now we're just going to take him out. We're going to slide in Harrison, slide Bitonio over. It's just strange move. Bitonio's been fine. Even if they think Harrison is the left tackle of the future, it looks to me like he's got some promise to him, but he's nowhere near ready to go up against top edge rushers. I mean, he was holding his own against second and third teamers, but he was also got it taken to him a couple times. Now you're going to put him in there against the elite, and I think that's just putting Tyrod or Baker in a world of in a world of hurt. And I just can't believe that they think that he is the better option than Corbett at this point. It's strange to me. I don't believe that will happen. So that's my guess. But Hugh's done stranger things. What do you think about it?
So so Robinson we kept, and he's going to be a backup right tackle. I'm assuming
he can play either. It doesn't matter. He played left tackle in the league before.
Okay, but he's not part of this discussion right now where they want to start Desmond Harrison at
I don't think so. It's got to be Harrison that they're talking about. I mean, nobody in the right mind would think it's a good idea playing Greg Robinson at left tackle full time. But who knows? You know what? He's had a pretty good training camp for Greg Robinson standards, but I mean, come on. He also has not gone up against any elite pass rushers as far as I remember, right? It's all second and third teamers. It's second and third team guys.
Run the ball, he'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh no, he looks like a very good run blocker. I mean, he's a big man. He can get some people moving, that's for sure. But now you're going to get him in pass sets, and guys are just going to run around him. And then what's going to happen to Desmond Harrison is he's got the feet to move with him, but they're going to absolutely clobber him when they just run right through him. I mean, can you see Miles against Desmond Harrison on a weekly basis? Oh my God, he would be feasting back there.
Yeah,
it's just not right. The difference is Bitonio has a ton of experience. Even if he doesn't belong there right now, he's by far the best one they have. So put him at the most premier position on the line and just let him go do his thing. Corbett will figure it out. It's a lot easier for a guy to step in at left guard than throwing a left tackle out there day one that doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, this makes me a little nervous to realize that we have a game in like 6 days or 5 days, and we're still
Hugh's treating it like this is a competitive advantage by them not knowing. It's like they don't give a shit. They're gonna what do they care? If Corbett's out there, we're going to game plan for the guard. If Harrison's out there, we're game planning to attack the tackle. I mean, what more does it to it? It's pretty simple stuff.
Yeah, not real difficult. We'll cover the claims after we go through the 53. Let's go over to the defensive side. Maybe a couple interesting cuts here.
Very
we'll start
interesting.
With Brantley.
Yes.
Caleb Brantley was cut.
Mm-hmm.
Ekuale and Henderson and Nate Orchard are the defensive linemen that were cut.
Yep,
the
Ekuale
53.
and Henderson make the practice squad.
Falk, Woods, Wood. They were cut the day before, as we mentioned. What's his name? Lenny Jones went to IR, and Frazier was cut the day before as well.
Okay.
Brantley was claimed by Washington.
Right, and that was the only real surprise there. Orchard, we kind of figured he was going to be the odd man out there. Now, Brantley, we talked about it, and you kept asking me, is Brantley good here? And my answer kept being, yes, who else is going to beat him out? Well, somebody from another team, that's who beat him out. Because they obviously we didn't. We're struggling there with a little depth at this position. Brantley, not the best motor. He really hasn't been bad, but he hasn't. There's plays that he's been taking off. Of course, he was injured multiple times in camp. They don't really like his work ethic. That seems to be truth. And then they bring in a guy in Devario Lawrence to take his spot. That seems to sort of be the opposite. A guy that's all about work right now. He's all about putting in extra work and trying to get better. I listened to an interview with him, and he's all 100% football all the time right now. Tough upbringing. It seems to just be the complete opposite of what Brantley is, where you'll see him hustling down. I saw one, he's getting after the quarterback. They set up a screen. Lawrence turns around and chases down the screen play. I went back and watched some of his plays. We didn't see Brantley making those kind of plays. So this kid just seems to be hustling all over the field. Damn well Greg Williams loved that. He's not going to show up in the non-hustle films that they put out every single week. This is one of those moves where the Browns go, well, we got a guy here. Can we do a little bit better? We think we can. Maybe Lawrence has a little bit more upside because he'll come to work every day, and that's just part of it. That's what's going to happen, especially when you're not drafted by John Dorsey. You better be coming to work every single day, or you're going to find your way out. He doesn't owe anything to you. You weren't one of his picks. You weren't one of his guys. Not my guy. So that will help you find the door early. Now, there's a couple guys here that we kept that you could say probably the same thing, but they're still around. But these are John Dorsey guys. So we'll cover that a little bit later here after we get through these rest of these cuts.
Yeah, an interesting dynamic here with Lawrence as well is the Browns sent a 7th rounder next year to the Saints. The Browns have the top waiver priority. So they targeted this guy specifically to make sure the Saints didn't trade him somewhere else. If Lawrence gets cut, the Browns can claim him and not send a pick. So They were worried about another team sending a 7th round.
Well, he's
they
had a
called
good
up
camp.
the Saints and make sure they target the guy. Apparently, he became the odd man out in New Orleans. They didn't have room to keep him.
Yep, they have they're pretty stacked there, and he had a really good preseason. He had 7 pressures on 55 pass rushes, 4 sacks, 1 QB hit, 2 hurries, 1 batted ball, 5 tackles, 7 run stops. So he really filled it up when it comes to the production aspect of it. And then going back and watching the film, you see the guy. He's going all out. Now there was a 3rd and 4 in his first game where Cody Kessler got him to jump off sides and give up the first down. So those kind of things. Now that's sort of Caleb Brantley. Like we've seen that a number of times with Mr. Brantley and his jumping. So hopefully Devario Lawrence is an upgrade there. He's a little bit older. He's almost 26 years old, but this is a guy that I guess was in and out of jail a number of times. So he got a late start on his career and he's been all football since.
Yeah, so the original 53, which is going to change, became Ogunjobi, Jamie Meter, Coley, Chad Thomas, Nassib Agba, Garrett, Chris Smith.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the original 53. That is going to change when the Browns make some waiver pickups. Orchard being cut, like you said, probably not a surprise
kind of expected
there.
No, I mean he's from 2 regimes before. So he's really lucky he stuck around this far. He has a good. I'm telling you what, he's been really good in all his preseason games. He has yet to do anything when we've been in a regular season. he was the odd man out. That was for sure. We kind of saw that one coming.
Yeah, he did clear waivers. He is meeting with Buffalo today and the Jets tomorrow. He is a free agent and can take his time picking where he wants to go. I'm sure he'll find a job. Let's move on to the linebackers. Not much here. BJ Bello was cut, and Sheldon. Jermaine Grace did make the original 53 along with Schobert, Avery, Collins, Kirksey, Burgess. Kendricks, we know, was let go after the indictment.
Yep. So the only
Curry,
strange,
I guess, if you want to throw Curry in with the linebackers, he waived injured. We mentioned that.
Yep. And the only thing there, we thought maybe Bello over Grace. It doesn't matter. Grace gets cut anyways. So when it's all said and done, once they make these roster moves.
Yep. All right. Going back to the secondary, Michael Jordan. He was cut. The Giants picked him up on waivers. Meander, Tiggy Senko, they come back on the practice squad. And 6th round draft pick, Simeon Thomas, claimed by Seattle.
Yep. What about Christian Butte?
Butte was cut the day before.
Oh, okay.
As well as Duron Smith and what's his name, Campbell.
Yes, Campbell. Yeah. So that's it. Michael Jordan, I guess, would be the surprise one there. That was one of Greg Williams' guys. Played with him in L.A. or they were probably St. Louis at the time. I can't even remember when they moved, but he played there, so he should have. He knew the system. They bring him in. He's kind of a surprise cut because Denzel Rice and McKinnon make the team, and those are the two guys we thought were on the bubble. They both come in. McKinnon is released. Jeremiah McKinnon is released after we make more waiver pickups.
Yep. So the original 53, Ward, Mitchell, EJ Gaines, TJ Carey, BBC, Denzel Rice, and McKinnon, as you said, who is not going to make it through the waiver process. Back at safety, we'll have Peppers, Demarius Randall, and Kindred. You could probably throw BBC into that group of safeties as well.
Yeah.
The kicking battle was won by Zane Gonzalez, and Vogel was cut. Colquitt will be the punter. So anything on the original 53 there before we go to the waiver? Let's just cover the waivers, and then we can talk about the team as a whole.
Okay.
Some sort of fan favorites were cut. Carl Nassib and Meter were cut as part of the 5 new faces that come in off of waivers. Jermaine Grace, McKinnon, and Austin Ryder, who I thought played just fine at center. Maybe you don't need a backup center, but they brought in a backup guard, Aaron Neary, from the Rams.
He's played center and guard, Aaron Neary has. He's almost 26, 6'4", 299 pounds, and he was a free agent from the Broncos originally, is who picked him up in 2016. 189 snaps in the preseason, 76.9 Pro Football Focus overall grade. Pass blocking is well below average at a 47.9, but his run blocking is at 81.4, which is very good. So maybe he's a bit of a road grader. I haven't even had a chance to watch any of them. Have you?
No.
Okay, so
I haven't looked him up once.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to get around to it. I've been watching these other guys here. I'll get around to it, but Ryder, he's once again, he's just a replacement level guy. They think they've got another replacement level guy out there that fits their system better, or they like a little bit more, maybe has a little bit more upside, and you take a chance on him. Are we losing anything? No. Are we gaining anything? Probably not. It's it is just they play this game. The way I look at it, almost most of your roster is really, you can just get rid of most of these guys, add a different guy, and your chances are you're going to be in the exact same spot. Now, there's the foundational type players are the ones that you just have to keep in place. The Myles Garretts, the David Njoku's, the Baker Mayfields. I mean, there's guys that are, have potential to be superstars that you don't want to be moving on from. I don't think we've moved on from any guys that are potential superstars. We've moved on from guys that are, right there in the middle, just good enough to play in the league, but they're not going to push it. They're not going to raise you up to playoff level or championship caliber team. They're role players, and there's nothing wrong with that. You have to have a good amount of role players on your team. And that's what we're cycling through here. And this happens for all the teams. Now, there's a really big turnover here with the Browns this year. I think something like 29 players or something to that, or 28 players were turned over. But look at it as a whole. It's not like they're giving up their premier players. They're not. This is not the Raiders giving up Khalil Mack. You've just taken a foundational piece and traded them away. The reason why you acquire 2 first-round picks is so you can get a Khalil Mack. Okay, they don't grow on trees. You got to get lucky. So when you have one, it seems silly to me to trade it away. And we didn't do that here. So I want to, we've made plenty of roster moves here, but I don't think it's tipping the scale one way or the other. It's taking looks at guys and trying to maybe find a diamond in the rough here.
Yeah, coming in, defensive lineman Carl Davis out of Baltimore, Ifeadi Odenigbo out of Minnesota.
Did you not want to talk about these guys?
Yeah, let me run through the list. Okay. Tanner Vallejo, linebacker from Buffalo, and Tavier Thomas, he was an undrafted free agent signed by the Arizona Cardinals. Those are the 5 that came in.
All right, so Carl Davis, he's 26 years old, 6'5", 321 pounds, drafted 3rd round by the Ravens, like I said, 3rd round pick. He's basically coming in for Meter. So you drop Meter. Meter's played well above where Meter should have played since he's been in Cleveland. He's done an excellent job with this guy was not, he did not win the lottery in the gene pool. It's not like Meter came in with all this physical ability and he just, it was easy for him. That's one of those guys that just worked for everything, worked above what his actual skill level was, and got the job done. There's nothing wrong with Jamie Meter. The problem is there's only so far that his athletic ability is going to take him. It's just, that's it. And that's what we had said going back all the way into the summer or all the way into the winter last year. Once we got to the end of the season, this is probably a guy who's had his last year, played his last game. They re-signed him because they even gave him a contract. Remember, we were kind of surprised. They signed him to like a 1-year contract.
$1.9 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a restricted free agent.
Okay. Right. That's right.
So they tendered him.
Tendered him, brought him back. I don't even think he did anything to lose his job. But what happened is the Browns recognize that Baltimore once again is stacked at the defensive line. They recognize a player there that they think is going to be an upgrade and somebody that fits their scheme a little bit better. So they go and take a shot at him. So, this is Carl Davis, a monster player? No, he's just a solid player. This is once again, this is a guy that they're hoping to get a little bit more out of than what they got from Meter, and I think they probably did. From a talent aspect, he's more talented than Meter. Now let's just see if he can go out there and give you the same kind of intensity and stuff like Meter brought, because Meter honestly brought it every single week. It's just he was just limited in how much he could actually give you. So I like this move from the Browns. I thought this was a good one, good chance to upgrade, and in my opinion, they did here.
Yeah, there's some talk already. Carl Davis could see the field early and often.
Well, yeah, I imagine that it'll be Ogunjobi starting at the 1, Carl Davis behind him, and then is Coley back? Is Coley even back yet?
I think Coley is back.
Okay, so then we have we'll have Coley and the next guy we're going to talk about, DeVaro Lawrence, who I kind of already covered a little bit. He's 6'2", 294 pounds, and he was a free agent out of LSU this year, picked up by New Orleans. And like I said, he had a really good preseason. He stuffed the stats, got it done there, and it was just a numbers game in New Orleans. So this is a kid, though, I think that's got some upside, and hopefully the Browns are hoping that they find a diamond in the rough here and he can develop and become a good player. But that's yet to be seen.
All right, another guy on the defensive line, Ifeadi
Odenigbo.
Out of Minnesota's system.
Yes, he was a 7th round pick this year, 6'3", 258 pounds. He had, I don't have this in front of me, but I think he set some kind of like sack record or pressure record in the Big Ten. He had a ton of them at Northwestern. He kind of fell in the draft because he doesn't look like he's got a ton of bend. He's looked better so far in camp than what he did as a prospect. He's had 8 pressures, 111 snaps, 8 pressures, 2 sacks, 5 hits, 1 hurry, 5 tackles, and 3 run stops in the preseason. This is a guy that Minnesota really liked, but at the same time, they're just, there's a numbers game. They're stacked on defense. They can't keep them all there. Probably trying to get him to the practice squad. The Browns recognize that this is an opportunity to get him on their squad, and they do. He ultimately replaces Carl Nassib. That's fine. If they think that's an upgrade there, that's fine to me. The problem I have with the Nassib being cut, and it's not even that Nassib is that good it's not even like he's a good player. He's just a backup player. But you went and you spent a 3rd-round pick. Okay, Nassib was a 3rd-round pick. You spent a 3rd-round pick this year on a guy that's basically going to give you exactly what Carl Nassib did, if not less. And in fact, if you
Chad Thomas,
okay, if you just go by what they've done in the preseason so far, Thomas has played 83 snaps, 37 against the run, 46 against the pass. He has 1 pressure and 46 pass rushes, 1 hurry, 2 tackles, and 2 run stops. That is literally, you might as well not even be out there. That is nothing.
He's been playing late in the games as well.
Right. He's been playing against the 2nd and 3rd stringers only. Nassib, on the other hand, is giving you 65 snaps, 22 against the run, 43 against the pass. He has 5 pressures, 1 hit, 4 hurries, 6 tackles. He missed a tackle, but he has 5 run stops. Every single aspect, he's outproduced Chad Thomas to this point. The only thing that Nassib did wrong was didn't get drafted by John Dorsey. Chad Thomas did. So Chad Thomas is walking around right now in Berea, as if he's the golden boy, because he's uncuttable at this point. He didn't earn his stripes. He hasn't earned his way onto this roster. And the only problem that I have with them cutting Nassib is that you keep Chad Thomas, who's never going to give you anything more than what Nassib was already giving you. So you just threw away a 3rd-round pick when there was tons of players on that board. I hated the pick when they took him. I hate it more now that you just give up a guy that is basically the exact same thing you're going to do with him. You can slide Nassib inside. He could still use to put on a little bit more weight. Thomas has a little bit more girth than what Nassib has. I'll give that to him. But he's ultimately not going to, he's just, that's what he is. They're so similar into what they're going to give you. It's just no point in making this move. So that is the problem that I have with Nassib getting cut for Chad Thomas. I guess
they must have some real big plans for Thomas. They must think they can really develop this guy, because he's 3 years younger as well. But
yeah, and that's fine. I mean, look, that's their guy
for 2 more years. It's not like he's on his roster. It's not like he's on his contract year here or anything, and he's going to have to be paid next year.
Right. And I'm not saying Nassib is great
like that. I understand. Yeah, it's just a backup guy. When you break it down like that, when we had needs there in the 3rd round, you traded back out of the 2nd round, and then you just grabbed this guy, and then what are we going to do with him? I don't know. Bring in Chris Smith, bring in 2 more, another 3 defensive linemen. I know we needed some interior help, some interior depth anyway.
Yep.
Garrett, Agba need to be on the field most of the time.
Sure.
I'm not sure where Chad Thomas is going to fit in if he gets much snaps this year at all.
So let's just say Garrett or Agba get hurt. Okay, Chris Smith just doesn't seem to be a full-time end to me. He's a pass rush specialist, okay? So Garrett or Agba get hurt. So now you're having to play Chad Thomas turns into now a full-time end for you?
Then we're in trouble.
You're in big trouble. You just got rid of your a solid backup, and Chris Smith is not going to be able to hold up against the run on a full-time basis. He's just not. He can rush the passer, and that's about it. It's silly to me to make this move. Now, I get it. They want to try to develop Chad Thomas. Okay, well then get rid of Chris Smith. In my opinion, that's what I would have done. It just makes more sense. And Nassib can play either one of those sides, and he can play it on every single down. You don't really have to worry about him. Is he a great player? No, he's just a solid player. There's nothing wrong with him. So why are you trying to replace a backup when there's no need to replace one? It just doesn't make sense to me. Hey, it is what it is. We're moving on. So that was the one head scratcher that I had.
Yeah, just the way that they've been playing passing downs with Garrett and then Ogunjobi in the middle and then sliding Agba inside, who's a little undersized, and then bringing Avery up.
Yeah. Well, so that's your other option. Your Avery is also not going to be playing a full-time edge spot for you either, you know?
Right.
So,
he's a passing down, right?
Exactly.
Spot there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why.
That just makes it really weird to keep like Chris Smith over a dude that you can throw inside that can hold up against the run a little better.
It is what it is. I mean, this is what happens. This is when you're constantly doing turnover. How many times have I said this? When you switch the GMs nonstop and you switch the coaches, you got to get all new guys because this isn't my guy. And like I said, half of these guys are exactly the same player as the other guy they replaced. They might, this guy fits my scheme a little bit better. Fine, I get it. I mean, it's not like we're losing a foundational piece here. But we did waste a third-round pick, in my opinion. That is a pretty important pick there that we could have done something a little smarter or better.
Yeah. I mean, when you're coming into the draft and you're saying, all right, well, let's sort of we need replacements here, we need replacements there. Yeah, that's probably a spot that you wanted to look at a replacement. I just think you could have done a lot better than
Well, three, I think, also the thing they want to do with them ultimately is put some weight on them and move them inside. So if that's the case, that's going to take some time as well. He's got to get in the weight room and hit that hard. Maybe in a year or two, he'll be ready to take that on. Or, they want that versatility. Greg Williams really likes versatility guys that can play multiple positions.
Well, also, if you wanted to develop somebody inside, you could have held on to Brantley too. But again, not my guy.
Yeah, well, that one is, like I said, watching, now that I had a chance to watch DeVaro Lawrence, he looks as good, if not better, in every single way to Brantley. So it's fine. I'm fine with making that one. That doesn't bother me one bit, especially when it comes down to he's not, them saying he's not working hard. I don't think anybody's ever said that about Carl Nassib. He doesn't come in and work hard.
Okay, so let's move back one spot to the linebackers. You brought in Tanner Vallejo and let Jermaine Grace go. I believe Vallejo is a big special teams guy.
He played 54 snaps for special teams for the Bills in the preseason, 15 on kick return, 13 on kick coverage, 10 on punt coverage, and 9 on field goal blocks. So seems to be the move. I don't think this is a guy. He's pretty small. He's only 6'1", 228 pounds. Boise State player. He was a 6th-round pick last year for the Bills. He's depth for the linebacker crew, but I think he's ultimately a guy that they want to get on special teams and contribute there. He played 123 snaps on defense, got 1 pressure, 1 sack. He had 7 tackles. He missed 3 tackles. That's been his Achilles heel, is that he misses tackles. He's missed 3 tackles on playing defense, and he missed 1 on special teams. And he had 7 run stops on defense as well. So we kind of thought that they're going to be using that last linebacker spot as a special teams guy. This appears to be what that is to me.
And the corner, Xavier Thomas, the undrafted free agent out of Arizona. And they let McKinnon walk, who I thought played well on special teams as well as Rice. So,
yeah, now Xavier Thomas is, when I flipped on the tape of him, he's 22 years old, Ferris State. He's 6 foot, 202 pounds, and he looks big. I was like, dang, dude looks like a safety playing cornerback. And I'm wondering, with BBC being your, he can move back and forth. I'm wondering if that's what they'll do with Thomas, is ultimately see if they can get him to be somebody that can play 2 positions. If we need him to play corner, he can play some corner. If we need him to play some safety, he can play some safety. I don't have his testing numbers in front of me, but I remember reading that he had some pretty good, he tested pretty well and athletically. He didn't play a ton of snaps, only 69 in the preseason, but graded as a 75.8 overall by Pro Football Focus, 81.9 tackling, and 76.1 coverage. So he got it done in those 2 areas. Good size, like I said, 14 snaps on special teams. And this looks like a the kind of guy they're going to come in and see that, you know, they might like his athletic traits and go, okay, let's see what this guy's got. If it doesn't work, he's at the bottom of the roster. You can cycle through those guys relatively easy, looking for a diamond in the rough here. And who'd we, and Jeremiah McKinnon, he's had a few more years in the league. It's like, yeah, he's a solid player. Are you really losing anything by trying a guy out here at the bottom of your roster? Not really. That's sort of what these bottom roster spots are for. Take a look at guys that might have slipped under your radar in the draft process, and then you go, whoa, I miss this guy. You know, he was a undrafted free agent to the Cardinals this year.
Yeah. So, okay, we've got EJ Gaines. He's got the 1 year, $4 million deal. BBC is on the contract. Well, he'll be a restricted free agent at the end of this year. So
BBC's restricted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at the end of this year.
Second round tender. What do you think? Let's just guess now.
Yep. I like it.
Okay.
It's a good number for him. All right. Do we have anything else? I think two guys to the practice squad. Kyle Kalis, I believe he is an offensive lineman. And Pharaoh McKever, I think I mentioned him as a tight end.
Yep.
That's the 53.
Oh, Montrell Meander made that was my one guess. Would make the practice squad. He made the practice squad as well. Corey Coleman was not picked up. He was cut by the Buffalo Bills. Nobody made a waiver acquisition on Corey Coleman. Are you surprised?
No, because of this contract, like you mentioned earlier when we were talking about it.
Yeah, that's
nobody
right.
wants to pay him, so he becomes a free agent. Now you could bring him in for vet minimum if you wanted.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's probably got a what do they call that, offset in his contract where he could sign a vet minimum and then Buffalo would be off the hook for $450 or something.
Yep.
Do you think anyone will pick him up?
Yeah, I think he's got enough talent that you take a shot at him. You got to wonder that you get traded for a 7th round and you get cut by that team that traded for you. Are you humbled yet? Because I don't think it's not a talent thing with him. It's not a talent. This is it's just he doesn't seem to get it. You know, the rumor was the Bills didn't like his attitude. So how do you get traded for a 7th round pick and you come in and you still have a bad attitude? It's mind numbing to me. It's entitlement. It's what are you doing here? Well, I already got paid. I have all the shoes that I'll ever need. I don't need any more sneakers. So what do I care? It just doesn't make sense. That's the problem, man. You really gotta find guys that want to be great. That's why I love Myles Garrett so much. Just listen to the guy talk about football. He talks about wanting to be one of the greatest of all times. And when you draft somebody in the first round, they have to have that mentality, as well as all these other skills. You got to be good, good at playing the game. You have to be an athletic freak. We don't get to see that part of those guys, but that's what it comes down to. You have to want to be great at this level. You can't just showing up is not good enough.
Yeah, that's right. It's fucking NFL.
Not for long. That's what they always say.
That's how they treat these guys. Yeah, you're not going to be on the team for long if you're not trying to play. You got to ball out.
Yep.
Or they'll find something else. They'll find someone else to take your spot.
And they should. Like we were talking about. These guys are not separated by that much. There's only a handful of guys that really are separated from other guys in this league, where they're just. Hands down. Okay, like how many Josh Gordons are there? 10 guys that are on that kind of level in the league that play wide receiver. How many Tom Brady's are there? How many? How many Khalil Macks are there? 10 Khalil Macks. All Von Miller and Myles Garrett. I mean, it's tough to find these guys. It's rare. And that's why, that's the more picks you got, obviously, the greater chance you have of hitting. But it's tough. As you get later and later in the draft, the likelihood of hitting those guys is less and less. It's tough, man. It's not an easy thing. I don't know. There's a lot of turnover for the Browns. I don't know how much, even after you look at all the free agent acquisitions and the trade, like, yes, Tyrod helps. Is he really going to be that much better than Baker? I don't know. Jarvis Landry helps. That's a major improvement. But you look at like the rest of the free agent list, and it's like we don't really have many guys that are like these guys that are just really taking us over the hump. This is just, I think, it's a continuation of building upon that good foundation of guys like Myles Garrett and David Njoku, and those guys getting better, and Baker Mayfield progressing. And when those guys get better, become great, become elite, that's when this team is going to be, everything that we've been hoping that it can be. Myles is already looking like he's there, to be honest. So. Now it's time for Njoku. It's time for Peppers to step up. Kindred. Let's see what Schobert can do this year. Let's see if Jamie Collins can get things turned around. And it all starts next Sunday. And I just can't wait, man. I mean, we're 1 week away.
Steelers week.
Yeah, we're 6 days away.
Steelers
Not even.
Steelers week.
Yes, sir.
We got Hard Knocks tomorrow. Steelers preview. I don't know if we'll do a Hard Knocks show specifically. Maybe we'll do the preview.
Dude. It's the best one.
Hard Knocks in the in one podcast.
There won't be a dry eye in Cleveland. Everybody's going to be crying. We just lost Carl. Not Nate. Everybody that was shown on the show has been cut, basically. Only Landry's around.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then we got the 53. We'll have some. Maybe we'll start trying to break down some predictions for. I'm going to assume we're going to record on Thursday. That's up in the air always, but we'll try to get it out Thursday.
Sure.
With some win-loss ideas, maybe some
16-0. Easy.
Yeah, maybe some. Maybe we'll do some over/unders for Gordon touchdowns and shit like that. Landry receptions.
A lot of maybes.
Maybe some best case scenarios. Yeah, we don't know. Like, how long's Tyrod going to be our quarterback? Everything changes.
2 weeks. That's it.
Yeah. Everything will be different. So it's really hard to predict where this team's going to go.
It's going to take one interception
based on this roster
at home for that place to be screaming Baker Mayfield. I guarantee it. One interception is all it's going to take. People will lose their goddamn mind down there.
We should probably Hugh should just say Stanton's the backup, so everyone won't.
Can you imagine?
Mayfield,
please. I hope they don't even ask him, because he's going to come with some BS like that. Oh,
that's all gross he cares about, dude. He's got that. That's at the top of his question list.
Take a long look. We haven't decided yet. Stanton, is it Baker? We don't know. They're going to play it out this week, and whoever played the best probably get the nod as backup. Do you get the nod as a backup? Like, what do you do? What do you do? Do you go tell them, Baker, you're the backup. Stanton, you're the third string. Oh man, I wanted to be the backup this week.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a little fist bump. You're the backup. Yeah.
Yes.
Fist bump, yes.
Progressing.
All right. Let's wrap it up. Twitter at STS Podcast. Email is survivingtheseason@gmail.com. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/STS Podcasts. Thank you to all the support, all the listeners. Thanks for sharing the show and rating us up on your appropriate application. Road to Redemption starts this week, boys.
That's right.
And girls. Greg, tell them what we say.
Keep on surviving.